Hey, dear brother and sisters, why who you keep matters. As we grow older, something strange happens. We begin to value peace over noise, clarity over chaos, and sincerity over bloodlines. But here's the truth. Most people won't say out loud. Sometimes, the most dangerous people in your later years are the ones you've known the longest, even family. Let me start with the first kind of person you absolutely must avoid as you age: the guilt tripper. And I want you to hear this with your heart wide open, because for many people, this one comes wrapped in love. It sounds like care. It even wears the face of family. But guilt, when used as a tool of manipulation, is poison, pure and simple. You see, guilt trippers don't scream at you. They don't need to. They whisper. They sigh. They use silence like a weapon. You tell them no, and suddenly you're painted as ungrateful, selfish, or worse, uncaring. All because you finally decided to draw a line. All because you said, "I can't do that anymore," or "I need some time for myself." And if you're not careful, you'll spend your golden years apologizing for simply existing. These are the people who will make you feel like you owe them something for aging, like you've become a burden just by being alive. It's subtle, but deadly. It might come in the form of comments like, "Well, I guess I'll just figure it out myself since you're too busy," or "I took care of you once. Now look at how you treat me." Let me tell you something, and I want you to hold on to this. Your life is not a debt to be paid to anyone. Not to your children, not to your siblings, not even to your oldest friends. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe them your health. And you certainly don't owe them the energy you barely have left, just so they can feel powerful, in control, or morally superior. That's not love. That's manipulation, dressed in emotional currency. The older you get, the more you realize time is your most sacred currency. And guilt trippers? They are professional time thieves. They will pull you into conversations that leave you drained, obligations that leave you exhausted, and relationships that leave you questioning your own worth. You might hear things like, "If you really loved me, you'd do this." But listen, love is not proven through exhaustion. Love is not measured by how much of yourself you abandon. You don't prove love by shrinking. You prove love by living in truth. And here's what's even more dangerous. Guilt trippers often train you to question your own reality. You start wondering, am I the one being selfish? Am I really not doing enough? That's how they win. It's how they keep you tied to their emotional leash. But freedom begins when you recognize that emotional manipulation is a form of control. And in your later years, you don't have time to be controlled. You need space to heal, to breathe, to reflect, to live. You've spent decades being there for others, raising children, supporting families, showing up at work, giving everything you had. Now the time has come to reclaim what's left of your energy for you. Not to be cold, not to be bitter, but to be free. I know this might sound harsh to some, especially in cultures where family is everything. I'm not saying to cut people off just because they're difficult. I'm saying protect yourself from people who use guilt as a leash. That's different. That's not love. That's control wrapped in familiarity. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is disappoint the expectations that were never healthy to begin with. And here's a truth a lot of people are afraid to admit. Just because someone is your family doesn't mean they're healthy for your spirit. Let me say that again. Just because someone is your family doesn't mean they're healthy for your spirit. In this season of life, you are not responsible for fixing everyone. You are not responsible for holding the family together at the cost of your mental and emotional health. You are not here to play referee, therapist, or emotional punching bag. You are here to live, finally, truly, and fully. You don't need to explain your boundaries to people who were never going to respect them anyway. You don't need to justify your peace. You just need to claim it. You've earned it through the storms, through the heartbreaks, through the years you stayed silent when you should have spoken, through the nights you gave when you had nothing left. You have earned this peace with your life. Don't trade it for guilt. If someone truly loves you, they will want your peace more than they want your compliance. Real love doesn't demand. It respects. It honors. It creates space. It doesn't guilt you into silence or submission. So as you move forward in life, be mindful of the guilt trippers. They might come with warm smiles and soft words, but if your soul feels heavier after they leave, pay attention to that. Your spirit knows what it's being pulled into. And if you ever need a reminder that it's okay to say no, here it is. Saying no to them is saying yes to you. That's a trade worth making every single time. Now let's talk about another type of person you need to start backing away from. The constant complainer, the never satisfied critic, the energy vampire. You know who I'm talking about. These are the people who could win the lottery and still find something to complain about. The sun could be shining, and they'll tell you it's too bright. You could be having a peaceful day, and they'll show up with a cloud over their head and try to drag you under it with them. In your later years, energy becomes sacred, and you don't have the reserves you once had. You've got to be selective about where you spend your energy and who you spend it on. But energy vampires, they don't care about that. They'll talk your ear off for hours about everything that's wrong in their life, never once asking how you're doing, never once checking in on your heart. And what's worse, they don't even want solutions. They just want company in their misery. They drain your spirit, not with loud arguments, but with a quiet, steady drip of negativity. It's constant, it's subtle, and it's exhausting. One phone call, one visit, one conversation, and suddenly your entire day feels heavier. You feel irritated, anxious, unsettled, and you don't even know why. That's how it works. They offload their emotional weight onto you and then walk away feeling better, while you're left carrying bags you didn't pack. So let me say this plainly. You were not put on this earth to be someone's emotional landfill. You were not created to absorb everyone's darkness at the expense of your own light. That is not your job, especially not now. And I know some of these people might be close to you. Maybe even people you've known for decades. Maybe it's a sibling, a lifelong friend, a neighbor, or even one of your own children. And that makes it harder. But listen closely. Just because someone is in your life story doesn't mean they get to write your ending. If they can't bring peace into your space, if all they do is drain, complain, and criticize, then it is absolutely okay, necessary even, to create space. Not out of anger, but out of self-respect, out of a deep understanding that your emotional well-being matters. And you no longer have the time or desire to pour yourself out for people who only take. Ever notice how being around certain people makes you feel smaller? How after talking to them, your mood shifts, your hope shrinks, and suddenly you start doubting things you felt clear about just moments ago? That's the quiet erosion of your peace happening in real time. And trust me, it adds up over time. Some people complain so much they don't even realize they're doing it anymore. Their entire identity is built around what's wrong, what's missing, and who's to blame. And if you spend enough time with them, they'll start convincing you to see life that way too. That's the real danger. They don't just drain you, they reshape you. They mold your perspective with their bitterness. And if you're not careful, you'll start picking up that weight without even realizing it. You deserve to be around people who lift you, who challenge you in love, who speak life, not just loss. People who remind you that even though the world is messy, there's still so much beauty in it. And if you don't have that in your circle, then maybe it's time to tighten the circle. Let me tell you something most people won't. Peace is louder than noise. Peace doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to prove itself. But when it's gone, you feel it in your body, your spirit, and your mind. Protecting your peace means protecting your energy. And protecting your energy means stepping back from people who treat your presence like a dumping ground for their dysfunction.